Basingstoke.
Hello, I'm Steve Randall. Welcome to the About Basingstoke Leisure Show, where we talk about, well, things to do. It could be as simple as reading a book, or it could be going to one of the shows at the Anvil, or taking part in one of the many groups that happen around the Basingstoke area. Lots of events always going on, and we're here to bring them to you. Don't forget you can let us know about your event. Just go to aboutbasingstoke.com. Now, before we go any further, a big thanks to our supporters at InQ Hive. They are now open at Hal Mills in Basingstoke, Brunel House, Stevenson Road. If you're starting a business, if your business has got to that stage where working from the spare room or the kitchen table just isn't sustainable anymore, or if you're a more established business and you're just looking for a new location, then InQ Hive could be the place for you. They have great business support as well. So find out more by going to their website, inqhive.co.uk. Coming up then, we're going to be talking about a global organisation which encourages people to just have great conversations in person. It's coming here to the Basingstoke area. It's called Conscious Cafe, and we'll be talking to the organiser of that very, very shortly. But there's a show coming up which has been a huge success in the West End, and it's being put on by just a fantastic team of local people. They are called Bats. Let's find out more about it.
I am Jade Barker, and I am the Marketing Sales Officer for Basingstoke Amateur Theatrical Society, otherwise known as BATS.
Brilliant. Well, welcome, Jade. For those who don't know what BATS does, tell us a bit more about it. How long has it been going? Who's it for?
So the society has actually been going for 68 years now. So it was founded in 1958. They specialise in high-quality musical theatre in Basingstoke, and we've got a long history of award-winning shows recognised by NODA and the Daily Echo Awards as well. So we're a not-for-profit society run entirely by volunteers who share a passion for musical theatre, and that's whether performing stage or behind the scenes.
Within our society, we've got a real mix of people in the group. So we have some people with full-time jobs, we've got some people with families, and for a lot of them, it's their chance to switch off and just be themselves for a bit. We also have ex-professionals who have gone down different career paths or even had families. And then we've had some people that have actually come to our society, gone off to drama school and actually gone into the industry. But at the heart of it, it's just a bunch of people who love musical theatre and just do it for the fun of it.
Well, we'll talk about shows in a moment, because I know you've got a big one coming up. But I'm really interested to dig into the motivation for people getting involved in BATS, because you mentioned quite a few different things there. It's great that you've got people who have been professionals and, you know, for whatever reason now they're doing this just to keep their hand in, you know, for the fun of it, just because they love doing it, love performing. But also those people who maybe years ago thought, I'd love to be on the West End stage, and for whatever reason that just didn't happen for them, but now they've got the chance to experience some of the magic of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for myself, for example, at school I always wanted to be in West End, and it was just that I couldn't financially afford to go to drama school. But now looking back at it, I thought, actually, I've made the right choice here, because even though it would have been amazing to be able to do it, and hats off to everyone that's managed to do it. But for me, every 6 months I get to audition for a show and get to enjoy performing in it every 6 months. And there's so many other societies around as well. So there's quite a few in Basingstoke. But for BATS, I've been part of it since 2012, and I was also with BATS Next Gen, which is the younger society. So I actually started when I was 11. But I feel like never give up on your dream, even though it's not a career-driven path. But actually, just if it's something that someone's always done, just go for it. There's no harm in just giving things a go. It might not be for you. We're always welcome for introducing new members to our society.
Yeah, so just talk about that. So if somebody, you know, has that feeling that maybe, and they, as you mentioned earlier on, they don't necessarily have to be a performer. They might just want to do something behind the scenes, and I guess everybody kind of chips in with that anyway. But, you know, if somebody's thinking, it might be for me, might not, what do they do? Get in touch with you, and then what happens?
So, yeah, on our website, there there is a nice question connection with the secretary. So you can drop an email to the secretary or even on our social media pages as well. So it'll come through to myself. And if you want to get involved backstage or you want to get involved in performing, with performing, there are welcome talks and pre-audition workshops. So you can come along to them and see if it's something that you are interested in doing. Or we are always willing, as committees especially, for people to come down and speak to us in person. So we've had a few people that have wanted to volunteer backstage side, which is great because we're always looking for front of house team, backstage, people to help with costumes, props. We like to build people's skills sets as such. So we've had someone that started off helping backstage and now is DSMing, doing light operations for the lights for the show. So we're always willing to give people an experience, not necessarily having to perform on stage. So yeah, we're always happy for people willing to volunteer for our society because it's what also helps keep us going. It's not just those that perform on stage.
Yeah, and I guess the sort of backstage roles and the front of house roles, I mean, they're really, really important. And perhaps for people, that might tie in with skills they already have, skills they might want to learn. And I think they'd probably be amazed at the wide variety of different roles that there are when you think about backstage rather than on stage.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's always roles available. There's always roles that we are always happy to get people involved in. So, yeah, don't be afraid to reach out.
And if people are interested in being on stage, how many shows do you do a year?
We do 2 shows a year, but actually, in fact, this year we're doing 3 shows. So we normally do a musical in May and November. And then this year, we're actually got the license to do Hello, Hello, the play, which will be at Central Studio in September. So, yeah, it's a great opportunity and something different for our members because normally we only do musicals. So we wanted to give something else a go and see how that goes.
I love that. And talking of musicals, you've got a big one coming up, which, I mean, everyone's certainly heard of the music, and I think they'll have heard of the show as well. It's been a huge hit in the West End.
So, yeah, we have been lucky enough to get the license for We Will Rock You, which has been obviously amazing. It's been one that people have been wanting to come on to, amateur adults mainly, for years and years and years. So it's based in the future, and you've got the Rebel Dreamers, Galileo and Scaramouche, who are trying to help find the lost vibe with the Bohemians. You've got Killer Queen, who is the ruler, and she is banned music. So, yeah, there's no music on the planet, no instruments, nothing. So the Bohemians have been trying to search for years to try and find the vibe. It's a really, really fun show. There's over 20 songs, Queen songs. So if you love Queen, this is definitely the show for you. It's a great jukebox musical and definitely one to follow.
Yeah, and this was a collaboration between Brian May of Queen, of course, and Ben Elton, who, as we know, is just a genius at writing these sort of shows.
Absolutely, yeah. It's so good. And it was on West End for so long in Dominion Theatre. I've always loved it. So I watched it when it was in the Dominion Theatre and Kerry Ellis was playing the part of Meatloaf, and I absolutely loved it. And then I was lucky enough to do it at Bats Next Gen, but it was the school edition, so it's a shorter version. So now to be able to do the full version as an adult society, it's so technical as well, with the lights, the set. And the songs are just so iconic that people are just going to know the songs, and you just can't help but stamp, stamp, clap as the We Will Rock You goes. But yeah, it is such an amazing show, and we're just so lucky to be one of the amateur society groups to be able to do it.
Well, it's brilliant that you're bringing it to Basingstoke. And just to give us an idea of the scale, how many BATS members are involved in putting on this show?
So in the cast, there's 21. And then obviously you've got the creative teams, and you've also got the assistants. So dance captain, assistant director. We've even got an assistant musical director because the songs in the shows are so big. So it's great to have lots of people helping with the music to get our harmonies on point. We've even got booth singers as well. So people that couldn't necessarily commit to doing the whole rehearsal period, but they are singing off stage to help with all those on stage that are doing amazing choreography and to make sure that the harmonies are on point. There's just so much happening. They've got production team every rehearsal there, making notes of the lighting requirements, costume requirements, putting out a schedule. There's just so much that goes on. And I don't think until you're in that rehearsal room and you're part of it all, I don't think you realise how much goes into a show.
No, I was going to say, how long is the rehearsal for this? How many weeks or months do you have to rehearse for something like this?
So we auditioned in January, mid-January, and then the show's mid-May. So it's generally around the 5 months mark.
I guess the big question is, when can people see it? Where can they see it? And when can they get tickets and where?
Absolutely. So it's performing at the Haymarket Theatre in Basingstoke. The tickets can be purchased through our website, www.bats.net, or in fact through the Anvil Arts website. And also it's the 12th to the 16th of May.
Brilliant. Well, so for people wanting to see the show, then act now. For those who think, I'd love to be in a show like this, maybe next time. But the first thing you've got to do is to get involved. And again, if you go to the BATS website, you can find out how to do that.
Absolutely, yeah. Or drop onto our social media accounts. We've got Instagram, Facebook, and also TikTok at BATS Basingstoke. They'll be able to find us on social media.
And are you in this show, Jade?
I am indeed. I am one of the teen queens.
Well, we'll look out for you. Thanks very much for coming on.
No worries. Thank you, Steve. Bye.
Big thanks to Jade for being on the show. Coming up, we're talking about Conscious Cafe. If you love great conversations in person, this could be for you. Details next.
Being a trusted local expert is a powerful position to be in. Sharing useful, consistent information is the best way to build that trust with your community. But let's be honest, creating regular, insightful content is a massive challenge when you're busy running a business. That's exactly why we created the About Basingstoke Expert Network. We handle the heavy lifting so you don't have to. Each month, you'll connect with one of our professional journalists to talk about your chosen field. We take that single 30-minute session and transform it into a content machine. One or more audio podcasts, high-impact video clips, professional articles, and ready-to-go social media posts. You can join the network for just £79 per month. That's your entire month of digital marketing content, podcasts, videos, and articles, all from one half-hour session. Don't let your competitors have the last word. Position yourself as the expert at aboutbasingstoke.com/expert.
About Basingstoke.
It's the About Basingstoke Leisure Show. If you want to find out more about things that are going on in the Basingstoke area, this is the place to do it. But the other side of that is, if you're organising something, let us know. Just go to aboutbasingstoke.com and get in touch. Now, if you like great conversations, and we certainly do here, then this could be for you. It's coming to the Basingstoke area. It's something which happens around the world at different locations. It's called Conscious Cafe. Let's find out more about it.
My name's Karen Blakely. I've lived in Basingstoke for about 35 years.
Well, welcome. And tell us about Conscious Cafe. This is something new for the Basingstoke area, but it's something that's been going on elsewhere for a while.
Yeah. So Conscious Cafe is an organisation that brings people together who want to discuss deeper topics in life. So typically we have lots of conversations every day, but often we don't really get beyond the sort of the superficial. So what Conscious Cafe does is it brings people together who are interested in talking about deep and meaningful topics in an environment of like-minded people where it's very safe and supportive and non-judgmental. So you come along together. There will be a topic. What we're talking about in May is living well in uncertain times. And you'll sit around a little cafe. We're being hosted by Sherfield Oaks Golf Club, and they've got wonderful facilities there. So you'll sit around a little cafe with, say, 4 other people, and you will discuss the topic, and there will be prompts to help you, and then we'll move on. So you shuffle around and hopefully meet everybody who's turned up that day, and have an opportunity to discuss with them what the topic means for you and to discuss your personal experience. And I think it's really important to say about Conscious Cafe, this is not a debating club. So this is not about, oh, I think this, I think that, so I'm going to go along, I'm going to try to persuade people that they should do this and they should do that, and that I'm right and they're wrong. It's not about criticizing, it's not about judging. It's actually about sharing. So sharing your personal experience and explaining, why you feel the way you do. And you might share a personal story that has influenced you greatly in your life. And then our role, again, is to listen, to understand, and to be curious about people, not to fix them. So that's a really important underlying basis for Conscious Cafe. And actually, Steve, I should say that whilst Conscious Cafe is new to Basingstoke, and particularly in this format, I have been running something called Stillness on Sunday for over 3 years now. And that's now, I brought that under the Conscious Cafe banner. So there's a couple of things that we do. We do Stillness on Sunday and this new public conversations event that we're launching at Sherford Oaks on the 14th of May.
Now, I'm really curious about the kind of non-judgmental element to this, because in any conversation, people want to give their opinions, don't they? How do you kind of manage that? Because somebody, yes, they're giving their experience, but when somebody else reacts to that, how can you kind of manage that sort of potential for somebody to be a little bit judgmental, even if they're trying to hide it?
Yeah, no, it's a really, really good question, actually. It is a challenge, but first of all, we make it very clear up front that that's what we're about. So if you are here to, persuade people, proselytize, trying to convince them that you're right, then you're probably not in the right group. And, as facilitators, we'll sort of go around the room, and if there are any problems, then we'll notice that and, we'll deal with it at the time. But I think most people are grateful that we are providing these ground rules, really, which enable people to open up and know that they won't be criticized. I mean, other people will think, oh my God, I don't agree with that. That's ridiculous. And what we're trying to encourage people to do is to notice that reaction in themselves and to learn to control it. It is difficult, it is tough, and people will break the rules and they will say you should, but because we've set them up front, try and use I, don't use you, use I, then someone will probably pick them up on it and people will get used to the ground rules. I mean, as I said, I've been running Stillness on Sunday now for 3 years, and I asked the participants in that what they most valued about the community, and they said the provision of a safe environment where they weren't criticized and where they weren't judged, so that they could be truly, authentically themselves. So people do learn, they get it,
Yeah, and I think it sounds like it's sort of the antidote, really, to the social media world that we've become accustomed to, where it is a knee-jerk reaction. Everybody's firing off criticism without really even bothering to read articles or try and think of the meaning behind something. Everyone's just got an opinion immediately and they want to get it out there straight away. This is guiding people to be perhaps a little bit more thoughtful and perhaps understanding, and also, not just understanding of others, but understanding of themselves and the way that they may think about things in the moment, and perhaps that there's a better way.
I couldn't have put it better myself, Steve. You've advertised Conscious Cafe for us. Yeah, it is about, the word conscious is actually a very interesting word. So what you're talking about is we have a world here where people are reacting immediately on seeing some kind of stimulus, and then they're buzzing out something that they think a criticism, a judgment. And what they're doing when they're doing that is they are not really in control of themselves. A lot of their reactions will be things that have been conditioned into them. So we're almost like automatons, we're all like robots, pushing stuff out, reacting, being angry, being sometimes quite hateful with our speech, etc. And what Conscious Cafe does is actually slows that process down and then gets us to go in and say, well, actually, I'm feeling really angry right now. What is it about me that is angry? What is it triggering in me? So it cultivates self-awareness. And of course, the more self-aware you become and the more in control of that process, the more you become what we like to call awake, the more you become conscious. So you're not being manipulated by algorithms. You are choosing to respond as opposed to react, which when we are asleep or when we're not conscious, we react. So yeah, absolutely. That's what we're really fundamentally about.
And how are you going to balance kind of the, because there'll be some people who want to speak, and that's their default position. They always want to be saying what they want to say. And then there may be others who have things to say and want to use this, as you say, safe space to be able to do that, but perhaps aren't the ones that push themselves forward all the time. How are you going to balance those two groups of people?
Yeah, I think that is probably the most challenging thing that we as Conscious Cafe leaders have to address. And I was at a Conscious Cafe leadership event on Saturday, and it was that question that took the most time. There are lots of different ways of doing it. You can actually allocate people, say 2 minutes each, and then you ring the bell, and then the next person, you can have a talking stick, and then encourage people who want to speak to raise their hand so that they're seen by the whole of the group. And so therefore the person with the stick feels obligated to pass the stick on. Someone was talking about having egg timers. There's little egg timers that you turned upside down where the sand drops through them. Yeah. So each person is allocated, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then they pass the egg timer around. It is a complicated dynamic, but again, people learn, people grow. So the people who've been coming to my Stillness on Sunday event, some of them were quite sort of dominating at the beginning. And then, they learn, okay, I've taken over too much time. Somebody else wants to speak. So there are lots of different tricks that we can use. And I'm confident that we can handle this, very confident.
And what kind of, this is possibly a question that the answer will be, well, it's anybody and everybody. But what sort of people do you imagine coming along? What age groups is it for? Is there any kind of requirement to be more academic or less academic?
First of all, it is not academic. That's really, really important. Secondly, we want as many people to come as possible. So there are no age range. The more younger people that could come along, that would be great. Obviously, we know that there are a group of people, in their 30s and 40s who are very, very tied up with family and often do not have the time to come to events like this. But it is open to absolutely everyone. I think the only thing that differentiates and distinguishes the people who come along to Conscious Cafe is that they are interested in talking about deeper subjects. So this is not superficial, what I watched on Netflix last night, or, what my grandchildren did at school last week. Those are very valuable subjects and I'm not decrying them, but Conscious Cafe is very much focused on deeper topics.
Yeah, and we all love having those deep conversations, where you can literally be talking all night to somebody because the topic is so fascinating, you get really deep into it. Can you, obviously you've mentioned a topic around well-being for May. Have you got any kind of sneak previews for us of some other topics that are coming up in future months?
Oh, I always like to be guided by my community. So I have some ideas, but if people turn up and say, I'd really like to discuss this topic, then we can always consider that as well. But some of the things I've been thinking of really was things like how to forgive, which I think is a really interesting topic, whether it be in families or in communities, or forgiving different people who have different perspectives from yourself, where you feel that you've been hard done by. Forgiveness is a very, very complicated topic, actually. I was thinking of something like what men want, what women want. And I'm really hoping that a lot of men come along to the session as well in May. And I think that will be quite interesting to get to grips with. And then maybe something like cultivating creativity might be something. Another topic that somebody has suggested is, what is consciousness? And, there is a lot of different threads to that. And it's a quite complicated subject in many respects. But so I don't know yet what topic I am going to be introducing. But it's not academic. It's something that I hope a lot of people will be interested in and will be grateful to discuss in a very safe environment.
And will this be running every month? And will there be a break for summer, or how will that work?
No, I think about doing the public conversations event about 4 times a year, because obviously it takes quite a lot of organisation. The Stillness on Sunday events that I run, they are run every month, every 4th Sunday of the month. But these public conversations, I'm going to be running them quarterly so far. Let's just see how it goes and how many people turn up, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the event in May, remind us of the topic and where and when it is.
Okay, so it's the 14th of May. The topic is Living Well in Uncertain Times. It's being held at Sherfield Oaks Golf Club, which has got a marvellous facility there. It's very, very comfortable. And if they want to find out more, people can either go onto my own website, which is Karen Blakely, which is BLAKELEY.com, or consciouscafe.org, where you'll see the Basingstoke group advertised under the groups section.
Well, it sounds really interesting. I'm sure that it'll spark some imagination among people and think, this is something different. And hopefully it'll be a long and successful group.
Thank you, Steve. And I think also the other thing that I'd like to say is that it's very special because it's face-to-face, and we'll never be online. We will always be face-to-face, because the whole purpose of Conscious Cafe is to build community. So I think that's also a very special opportunity for people to belong to a community and meet new friends and like-minded people.
Well, thank goodness for that. Karen, thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks to Karen for being on About Basingstoke and telling us all about Conscious Cafe. You see, there are all kinds of things going on in the Basingstoke area which you didn't know about. Be honest, you didn't know about that, did you? Well, I know it's new, but even so, there are things that have been going on for years that you may not be familiar with. We want to bring them to you. So first thing to do, if you're an organiser, let us know, because otherwise, if we don't know, we can't tell others. Go to aboutbasingstoke.com and click on the contact page. And if you're somebody looking for things to do, well, make sure you check out the Leisure Show every Friday and the weekend repeats here at About Basingstoke. You can also get the podcast in your favourite podcast app, or go to youtube.com and find out about different things. Maybe try some different things. Always fun to go along, try something, see if you like it. If you don't go again. If you love it, well, hey, who knew you were going to love it so much? You might have just discovered the new thing that's been missing from your life. So Leisure Show every Friday with the weekend repeat and the podcast. And Mondays we do community. So this coming Monday, we'll be talking about another aspect of community life. And it's an interesting one coming up this Monday, because we're talking about the Samaritans. Now, that may sound like a topic which is quite dark and gloomy, but actually they are looking in Basingstoke for new volunteers. Could you be a great Samaritan? It's a really interesting conversation. I absolutely loved talking to Paula from the Samaritans in Basingstoke. That's on Monday. Make sure you check it out.
Promote your event for free. If you're organising a charity or community event, or run regular events, meetings or classes in the local area, then tell us about it so we can get the word out. Just visit aboutbasingstoke.com/event, fill in the form and leave the rest to us. Or why not follow up with a voice message on WhatsApp and get your voice on our podcasts and radio station. Promote your event for free at aboutbasingstoke.com.